Good morning, class. I believe you are all doing well. Today, we want to look at special pricing practices. And by the end of the lesson, students will be able to explain what price discrimination is, state and explain the degrees of price discrimination, identify the types of price discrimination, explain four determinants of price discrimination, identify the merits and demerits of price discrimination, identify the merits and demerits of cartels, identify the location of cartels, the location of auction, and then explain the four types of auctioning. Right, so this is our outline. We'll look at the meaning of price discrimination, cartel and auction, degrees of price discrimination, types of price discrimination, determinants of price discrimination, merits and demerits of cartel, location of auction, and types of auction. Now let's start with price discrimination. This is where commodities produced by a firm at the same cost are sold to different customers at different prices. It can also be when a firm charges a different price to different groups of consumers for an identical good or service. That is also price discrimination. And lastly, price discrimination exists when the same product is sold at different prices to different buyers, and is normally and mostly practiced under monopoly. Now we want to look at the degrees of price discrimination. The first is first degree price discrimination. Under this degree of price discrimination, firms charge different prices to each of its customers. So the firm involved will charge different prices for each customer. That is first degree. Second degree price discrimination, the firm charges different prices per unit for different quantities of the same good or service. So how much the first unit sold will cost will be different from how much the second unit will cost. And the third degree price discrimination, the firm segments the customers into different groups with different so the firm will know the demand curves of the various customers and group them, then charge different prices for each group. And normally the third one, price discrimination, is based on demand elasticity. So if you have an inelastic demand for the commodity, then we charge you a very high price. Having an inelastic demand for the commodity means that even if the price increases, you buy almost the same quantity. Okay, so we want to look at the types of price discrimination. The first is based on product type. So we can say uh, price discrimination based on product type. This is when there is a difference in packaging, design, etc. And that creates an opportunity for different pricing of the same product. The same product, maybe a biscuit produced, um, it can be put in just a rubber bag and sold, and it can also be packaged nicely and sold. The same product will command different prices because it has been packaged differently. If it is designed differently, also it will result in price discrimination, pricing, giving different prices for the same product. The second is personality based. Price discrimination can take place based on the income differences of consumers. So sometimes firms, they look at the income of the person and charge the price he deems suitable for that person. And when we are poor and it's so obvious, maybe the person selling the commodity will know you are poor and charge you a very low price. So it's personality based. And the last is locational circumstances. Have you realized that in some particular locations, prices of goods and services are high, the same goods and services are sold at low prices at different locations? Sometimes it's dependent on um, how near the commodity is to that community. So if it is very important, if it is very expensive to transport the commodity to that community, probably price will be high. And sometimes also it's dependent on the kinds of personalities staying in such a locality and the status of the locality. There are some localities that have their prices different. Probably the residential areas and other places, you send a commodity there and you are even tempted to increase the price because of the caliber of people staying there. Right. So the next we want to look at is determinants of price discrimination. Let's run through quick. The first is distance of two markets. So if there is a vast distance between one market and the other, then it is likely that these two markets may be selling the same product but at different prices. And also ignorance of consumers. When it is realized that consumers are ignorant of the price of the commodity, they don't have perfect knowledge of the commodity, then firms or sellers are likely to discriminate the pricing, will charge very high even though the price should be low. Geographical discrimination. This is what I mentioned. In some geographical areas, very rich people stay there, and so a commodity that should command a low price, they will increase the price because they know at any price these people will buy. The next is difference in elasticity of demand, as I mentioned earlier. So if a particular consumer has an inelastic demand for a commodity and the firm realizes it, he will increase the price knowing that even if I increase the price, he will still buy almost the same quantity. That will be different from someone having an elastic demand for the commodity. You dare not increase the price because the person might not buy the commodity again. So differences in elasticity of demand is also a factor. The next is artificial difference between goods or differentiated product. The good, a natural good can be made a little bit different artificially, and that will result in price of the commodity being discriminated. So the difference can be from packaging, you package it differently, can be in design, you design it differently, but it's the same product. Right, and the next is monopoly power. A firm is tempted to discriminate pricing when he gains monopoly power because he's now the price maker. He charges whatever price he wants. So he can meet a poor man and charge a low price, but a rich man and charge a new price, a high price. The last is the firm can prevent or limit if the firm can prevent or limit arbitrage or prevention of resale. Now, arbitrage is a commodity that is being sold in, say, Ghana. If the commodity can be sent to another country and sold there, probably at a higher price, and all transaction costs being catered for, and at the end of the day, the person who is sending it from Ghana to the other country will gain, considering all transaction costs and others. Then it's advisable to move such a commodity from this country and take it to the other country. So if the firm can prevent someone buying the commodity, taking it to a place where commodities are probably are commanding different prices. If he can prevent that whole thing, then he can discriminate price. So you can't take a commodity from Ghana to UK. I'll charge the high price here because UK, though they are ready to buy it at a low price, you cannot just transport it. So I want us to pause here and I'll continue in the next lesson. I will continue the other slides in the next video. Thank you.